This happened about a month and a half ago. I was still at university at the time, enjoying a carefree student life. I had many friends, a loved one, and I was considered the soul of any company. We were constantly getting together, spending evenings in the yard, playing board games, dancing in clubs. Life was filled with fun and joy. However, difficulties soon began to arise. Nothing critical, more like minor troubles that might seem insignificant, but they were still unsettling. One of these problems was the lack of money. I lived with my parents then. My mother didn't work, and my father, who had supported the family financially for a long time, suddenly decided to leave. Now the funds were sorely lacking. I had to sell all the gold that was in the house and start looking for work. Mom found a job as an operator at the hospital, but her salary was clearly not enough. That's why I also decided to look for a job. Where should a student go, especially when studying full-time? There are few options: waitress, salesman. But the thought of endless orders and trays wasn't inspiring at all. That's when I came across an ad for a housekeeper job. In fact, it's the same job, but instead of a noisy restaurant, you're surrounded by the comfort and peace of a private home. At the interview, I met a lovely elderly woman named Nina Borisovna. She needed help around the house, because due to her advanced age, it was becoming increasingly difficult to cope with household chores. The job seemed easy, and the woman looked kind. It's decided, I'm getting a job with her. My visits began. Every day I came to Nina Borisovna, helped her around the house, cleaned, cooked, sometimes bought groceries. It turned out that my main occupation was not cleaning or cooking at all, but long conversations. Nina Borisovna was a lonely woman. Her daughter had died a few years ago, and loneliness was literally suffocating her. Apparently, for the sake of communication, she was looking for an assistant. Sometimes she interrupted the cleaning, invited them to the table and treated them to tea with homemade cakes, telling stories from her life. Her stories were so fascinating that it seemed as if a whole life was passing in front of you, rich in events, joys and losses. A month has passed, and I was glad that I had found such a quiet job. And Nina Borisovna turned out to be a wonderful woman with whom it was pleasant to spend time. But one day, that day, as usual, I entered the apartment using the keys that the landlady gave me. The familiar smell of warmth, freshly brewed coffee, and slightly musty air reigned inside. The scent of medicines reminded of the woman's age. I put the groceries on the table and called out, "Nina Borisovna, hello. How are you doing today?" But there was no response. It seemed strange. She usually came out to meet me right after I arrived. Feeling a little uneasy, I quickly headed to the gym. When I opened the door, I froze. Nina Borisovna was lying in the middle of the room, sprawled on the floor. Her white nightgown was askew, revealing pale, wrinkled legs. His gray hair was sticking out in all directions. His pulse was racing. I immediately grabbed my phone and prepared to dial the ambulance number. Had she had a heart attack? But then the old lady moved and, lifting her head, looked at me with a bleary look. "Valyusha, my dear, I'm sorry. I'm really weak," she said hoarsely, trying to get up. Exhaling in relief, I came closer. "I'm going to call the doctors. They'll help you get up," I said confidently, still holding the phone in my hand. But Nina Borisovna suddenly grabbed my wrist. The grip was surprisingly strong for an elderly man. "I don't need doctors, I'm fine," she said, forcing me to sit next to her. "I just feel my strength leaving my body." "Oh, how could you feel now? You're still young." Her eyes narrowed, and she whispered in a conspiratorial tone, "Give me your body, girl." I almost jumped in surprise. What? This request sounded absolutely absurd. Trying to hide my fright, I tried to free myself, but the old lady held me tightly. "Give it back, give it back, give it back." "What is it?" she repeated, as if possessed. My heart started pounding faster. Nina Borisovna's mind seemed to have clouded with age, and now she perceived reality in a distorted way. I needed to do something urgently to calm her down and call for help. "Okay, I'll tell you," I muttered, hoping it would help ease the tension. Nina Borisovna immediately let go of my hand and got to her feet. She straightened the folds of her nightgown and, straightening up, looked at me with piercing eyes. "Commutatio voluntaria," she shouted in a thunderous voice, and the next moment there was a deafening bang. Everything spun around, the world seemed to dissolve into a fog, and after a moment I found myself standing in the center of the room. Only now did I look at myself from the outside, seeing my own body, but it was controlled by someone else.